And we begin tonight in Mishawaka's Blair Hills neighborhood on Dragoon Trail with Storm Team 16's Michelle Relaford. Michelle.
Terry, Blair Hills is one of the areas hit hardest by this storm. If we take a glance around this cul-de-sac, you can get an idea of the type of damage done over here. You can see this huge tree branch was just sliced in half, and over here this entire tree was just broken in half, and the top half landed on top of the roof of this home. And I did actually get a chance to speak with a family that lives in this house, and they say they just feel really lucky that no one was hurt.
Yeah,
Dave Manspeaker's daughter won't be sleeping in this bed tonight.
We're going to have to find somewhere else to live right now because there's just no way. The roof and the trestles and everything up above are completely destroyed in the house.
If you think the inside looks bad, take a look at what caused the damage. This tree was split in half and the top landed on the Manspeaker's roof.
It was just unbelievable to see a tree just on your roof. I'm thankful that nobody got hurt and it didn't happen at night, because as you can see on my daughter's bed, it literally could have killed her at night.
Many other Blair Hill residents have found reasons to be grateful, even with signs of the storm all around.
We live in a cul-de-sac and 4 out of the 6 homes were damaged.
Trees are shredded, power lines are down, and this woman had a really close call.
I hit a tree. I was blown. My car was down here and our woods are up here, and I was running to my car to get my cell phone and it blew me completely straight into a tree.
Now as the shock has subsided, the sun has gone down and cleanup begins. Residents say they realize things could always be worse.
I don't care about possessions and the house as long as our family's safe. That's what counts.
Now, if the storm wasn't frightening enough, many parents got quite a scare waiting for their children to come home. Many school buses were more than 2 hours late, and at Glen, Elm, and Grissom schools, many of the students who were already on buses had to go back to the school and wait in the basement for the storm to end. And once that happened, a lot of bus drivers had problems getting the kids home because of down power lines and roads that have been closed off. But there is a bit of good news. Everyone made it home safely. Back to you, Terry.
All right, that is good. Good news there. Michelle Relaford reporting live tonight from Blair Hills.
The only confirmed tornado touchdown only for a few seconds in Mishawaka. The Blair Hills subdivision was a mess after the F1 Twister touchdown. Fox 28's Dean Huppert was there yesterday, and he saw the destruction firsthand.
When it came through, it was pitch black, and I was downstairs in our lower level in our bathroom where there are no windows, and I could just hear the booming, and I could hear the trees coming down when the wind was taking them down. It was unbelievable. I've never been through anything like this in my life.
When you say it came through, do you think it was a tornado?
It was as close to a tornado as I've ever seen if it wasn't, but I believe it probably was.
Blair Hills is normally known for its beauty. The trees outline the roads and houses. On this day, those same trees were on them. Residents have never seen their neighborhood like this. The storm left houses with damage and vehicles simply destroyed.
And the wind really picked up. I mean, it was very, very loud. The trees were bending. We had a lot of big trees in the back, and they started to come down. We've got 2 big trees sitting on the roof of our unit. It was rather scary. I know that some people think it may have been a tornado. I'm not sure. I saw no funnel cloud, but the winds had to be in excess of 70, 80 miles an hour.
My partner and I was here when the tornado came through, and it got real dark, and the wind was blowing probably 100 miles an hour or more. Trees were being uprooted. Things were flying through the air. Very scary.
When you say tornado, you seem to be very convinced that it was a tornado.
Absolutely, right in the middle of it. We heard a roar, and it came through, and then it got quiet, and then another roar, and the back end of it came through.
Getting home was no easy task. People walking up the hill not knowing what they would find. Some were thankful. Others were just happy their homes were the only thing damaged.
And the trees that came down were huge. Some of them were very, very big. And there were things flying through the air. We lost our lawn furniture that took off through the air. It was like a missile.
Did you happen to see that?
I saw one of our chairs go.
How scary was that?
Very, very. I'd never seen a chair fly before.
So it took me about 45 minutes to get around the area and up here and through the obstacle course of all the trees. And I wasn't prepared to see this, though. This is terrible here.
As the reality of power outages and altered living arrangements set in, some found any way they could to bring a smile.
Well, we have peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. That's probably what we'll be eating tonight.
I said, well, I wanted a new car. I guess I'm going to get one.
Meanwhile, the path of the storm traveled through Mishawaka east on Dragoon Trail. The timing was just after kids had been released at Elm Road Elementary. In fact, one witness saw a busload of children narrowly escape a tragedy.
There was a school bus came down the hill from Elm Road School. It turned around here in the school parking lot, and I started to come out. The rain was really hard. I started to come out and invite them to come into the church because I knew that she just wanted to get off the road, but I couldn't get her stopped, so she turned around and went back up the road, going back to school, I assume. When her taillights went out of sight right there, that tree came down right behind the school bus. I mean, I was watching it.
So it could have been devastating.
It could have been.
In Mishawaka with photographer Rick Shutt.
Well, the ride home from school yesterday was a wild one for some students in the Penn Harris Madison School District. Driving home in the height of the storm, some buses were trapped by debris. Other bus drivers sheltered their passengers in other ways. Storm Team 16's Robert Borelli is live in Mishawaka's Blair Hills. And Robert, everyone got home, didn't they?
Well, Terry, everybody did get home, but some of those kids didn't get home until 5:45 or 6 o'clock. Now, as the cleanup continues out here, some parents are upset that for a while last night they didn't know where their children were. Kindergarten student Wesley Blank was worn out when he got home Tuesday. Normally home at 2:45, Wesley didn't get off the bus until 5 o'clock.
Tried to call the school and couldn't get through, so kind of called some other kindergarten parents and decided that they must have turned back.
Some buses did, but the one taking Bree and Clay Landis home rode out the storm.
It was going like this.
Bree was telling me how the water was gushing into the drainage and she saw a funnel cloud and the bus was going back and forth.
We had no idea where our daughter was.
Bob Weber found his 5th grade daughter at Grissom Middle School.
When we got there, the bus drivers didn't know where to go, where they should take the kids, what they should do, and there just didn't seem to be an organized plan.
PHM's transportation director says her drivers did what they had to.
Well, there is no direct policy per se. We have been working on guidelines over the past year as far as on dealing with weather situations when we have vehicles on the road.
That includes sheltering children in private homes, which is what some PHM drivers did.
The drivers were trying very hard to ensure and comfort the students that they were okay. They were phenomenal.
Now, PHM officials said that they had buses on the road when the storm hit. They were already recalling them even before the warning went out. Live from Mishawaka's Blair Hills, I'm Robert Borelli, News Center 16.
Plus, was it a tornado? Mike Hoffman goes high above a News Chopper 16 to take a look.
You're watching WNDU TV, Channel 16, South Bend. Live from the WNDU studios, this is News Center 16. Coverage you can count on.
Then I came outside and looked, and it looked like someone had dropped a bomb on us.
At around 2:30, the storm hit South Bend hard, snapping power poles, slicing apart trees, even tearing into some buildings.
I opened up the door and I saw the trees swirling around, and these like 4 poles right here, they just snapped just straight down, just folded them.
And before it was over, a swath of damage was cut across the south sides of South Bend and Mishawaka, leaving hundreds of trees down and thousands in the dark. Good evening, I'm Terry McFadden. Maureen has the night off. Here is the latest information tonight. About 7 hours after the worst of the storms blew through Michiana. Now, while there is widespread damage through St. Joe County, especially the south sides of South Bend and Mishawaka and parts of Elkhart County, there have amazingly been no major injuries associated with this storm. Now, there has been a state of emergency declared for St. Joe County, including South Bend and Mishawaka, and there are some school closings. And while many people are safe, many of them are in the dark. 54,000 people without power right now. We'll have a full breakdown of where the victims are coming up. So all the damage and power outages beg the question, was this a tornado that blew through Michiana this afternoon? Storm Team 16 Chief Meteorologist Mike Hoffman took to the skies this evening to take a look from News Chopper 16. And, well, Mike, what's the verdict?
Well, it's interesting when you get up top, it is a different perspective. During the storms, we did have unconfirmed reports of funnel clouds, and many people were wondering, was this a tornado? News Chopper 16 does give us a unique perspective on what may have happened, and I strapped myself in earlier this evening to take a look. There was a definite path of destruction on the south side of South Bend and Mishawaka, generally north of the bypass. But we looked at many different factors to decide if it was a tornado. Maybe marks in a cornfield or which way the trees are leaning throughout the damage area. And those help us to determine whether it's a tornado or not. While there are many factors in determining whether there was a tornado, there's no mistaking that something powerful pushed through. From News Chopper 16, we saw a couple hundred trees down, some lying on top of homes, others across the road. A few trees and power lines literally snapped in two. And the winds did some incredible structural damage as well. This barn was completely flattened. We also found this trampoline had bounced away far from home, a construction project that will have to be started over. And the roof was damaged on this business in Mishawaka. The semi-trailer was no match for the winds either. The path continued, although a bit weaker, into Elkhart County. There were more trees on homes, and we found these bleachers blown across a soccer field. When deciding whether it's a tornado or not, we have to look past the amount of damage, though, at some clues. 99% of the trees and debris were all blown in the same direction, eastward. And perhaps the most conclusive evidence was this cornfield. It looks like somebody took a big straw and puffed the corn stalks down. They're all laying outward here, with the rest all laying off to the east. So, from News Chopper 16, all the evidence looks like a downburst, which causes straight line winds. And a downburst will cause a path as well, which is what we saw today. It's a blast of wind coming down out of the storm, and it basically just sends everything flying generally in the same direction.
I would think they... There's trees down in everybody's yard.
Can I ask you real quick, is this like a good example of the neighborhood coming together?
Yeah, it is. There's lots of people out here and they're doing a lot of cleanup.
You know, yard work's not so bad when the entire...
These guys have been coming around, just going around any place they saw down trees, they were fixing them.
Bring a tear to your eye.
No, but I'm sweating as hell in the storm. It's too hot out here.